decade in my 20s of having very little dating experience to turning 29 and a half and deciding to go on 30 dates before my 30th birthday, I think it is safe to say that I did a 180 in the dating world. And with that 180 came a lot of learning experiences. Since those 30 dates, I've had several people ask me, tell me about the best date that you've been on, specifically first date. What is the best first date that you went on? And my mind always goes to date number 3 of my 30-date adventure. I have a few small video clips that I can show you at the end of this video, but before that, I wanted to walk you through my analytical brain. I've been on a lot of okay dates. I've been on a lot of good dates, but very rarely would I categorize a date as great. And actually, this date that I'm about to show you is the only date that actually resulted in a relationship. So what made this date so great? I know we can all chalk it up to compatibility, the connection that you feel with the other person, the chemistry, the spark that each person feels. But I wanted to know what ignited the spark, what created the compatibility. And I've come up with 5 characteristics from my perspective, maybe a woman's perspective, of what a man can do to make a great date. Number 1, service. Now let me tell you how the service characteristic can play out in a date. First of all, when I get asked out on a date and it is followed by a plan, I automatically feel cherished, served, important. I'm talking about a simple thing as choosing the restaurant that we're going to go to. And then in the back of his mind, he has a plan of what to do if the dinner goes well. So I'm not sitting there twiddling my thumbs. Well, do I end this date or do I come up with something? Should we go get ice cream? Should I ask him if he likes coffee? Instead, he has a plan and he's willing to ask me what I think of his plan. I'm not saying that the plan needs to be strict and we can't change plans and my opinion doesn't matter. I just think it's very endearing when there's already a plan in place. It shows me that he spent time prior to our date thinking about it, which means I already feel important and that there's at least a small interest already before we set out on our date together. The second characteristic, I think, goes along with words of affirmation. Now, words of affirmation are a big deal in my life. It's usually what makes me feel most love. But even if it's not something that you really find important, I think that in a woman's nature, deep down within us, there's always something there that wants to feel beautiful. So when there's a comment somewhere along the lines that he does, I think it makes the woman feel at ease. She feels more secure in who she is, and I think it allows a foundation for a great date. Now, the words of affirmation doesn't necessarily have to be just about beauty, although if I'm being honest, I could probably list all of my dates out and categorize which men actually complimented me on my beauty versus those that did not. But words of affirmation can also be somewhere along the lines of just showing interest, how happy you are that she chose to spend her evening with you. Date 3 that I was talking about, my greatest date ever, there was a point during our dinner conversation, which wasn't videotaped, where he shared how nervous he was around me. He said he normally didn't get nervous on dates, but he actually was with me, and I found that so endearing. And again, it made me feel, number 1, he was confident to admit that he was nervous, and number 2, it made me feel like he's interested in me, and he's not scared to tell me through a simple statement of he was nervous. The third characteristic of what makes a date great is when the physical barrier is broken somehow. Now, I'm not one to advocate a first kiss on a first date, but the physical barrier is broken somehow in a way where maybe the man touches the woman's small of her back as he leads her through a crowded restaurant, or she says something funny and he touches her knee and tells her how funny she is. I feel like when the physical barrier is broken and it shows that he's willing to get close to her in a very, very small way, it shows what is to come in the way of him showing affection. Number 4 is conversation. The more dates that I've been on, the more that I've learned how to ask good questions, when to talk versus when to listen. But what makes the conversation turn for me is when the man starts talking about my passion. And my passion in life is my faith. So as soon as the person across from me starts talking about his faith and his relationship with the Lord, I immediately start having a better time. Maybe your passion is football and you guys can connect on your love of the sport. Maybe your passion is your occupation or your profession. Maybe it's hiking or camping or snowboarding, and you guys can connect with the same level of passion on a specific activity. And finally, the 5th characteristic of what makes a date great is that it ends without a guessing game. So I'm starting to like the person, but I don't know if he likes me back. That's not a very good feeling. Now, granted, if there is no interest, then don't lead her on and don't do any of these 5 characteristics to just have a great date when there's no interest on your part. You can't really help that, and you have to chalk up it was probably going to just be an okay date, but not a great one because there was no interest. But if there is an interest, somehow don't let the date end without expressing that interest. Now again, I'm not saying get into a relationship right after that first date, or even ask her out on a second date when you're still on the first date. Give that some time, give that some thought, give that a couple days. But what I'm saying is maybe you drop her off and 30 minutes later you get home and you give her a text that says, I'm still thinking about you, or I feel like a very lucky guy that I got to spend the entire evening with you. Something that lets her know that you are also interested, and see how she reciprocates that. So I feel like when interest is affirmed both ways and reaffirmed through a text message, that seals in and makes the date great. So my friends, I hope that you've experienced a great date, although I know that they're very rare. And I hope that there are many to come in your future. And so I want to share with you my greatest first date ever. We're going to meet at the zoo. It's Riverbanks Zoo and Gardens. And I'm about to leave here in 10 minutes. I was just keeping myself busy today. I woke up earlier than I normally did. I think I have a little anxiety. I'm a little nervous about this one because his emails were really cute. Okay, so here I am waiting in my car. We were supposed to meet at 3 o'clock and it's 2:56 right now. I got here about 15 minutes early, and so I just thought I would sit in my car and wait and see if I would see him walk up. So here I am constantly looking back and forth. Oh my gosh, I saw him. Okay, oh crap, my hand, let's switch spots.
Wait that out.
Okay, no. Okay, guess what? We've already videotaped. This is our 3rd time. He keeps messing up.
Hey, watching the train go by?
Oh, we're videotaping when the train is making all the noise. This is a bad time. This should be our 3rd take. It's not working out.
It's okay.
And before, we were going to show you the goats. Did we ever see any goats?
There's 2 adult goats, no baby goats.
Okay. Okay.
You get there when I get there?
Look what happened. My shoe broke. I noticed it in the restaurant.
I didn't do it.
I've already been tripping a lot, but not because of the back part, because of the front part. So we're going to go to the grocery store and get super glue.
There we go. Unscrewed cap, clockwise.
How many people does it take to get the super glue cap off?
Okay.
Okay, we thought we'd have to videotape this because this is a lively event on our date. It's not every date that...
Ooh.
Don't get any on my leg.
I got it here. Got some thought into it.
We don't know how to... I'm going to have to just stand in one spot for the rest of our date. What are you going to do while I stand in one spot?
Stand there with you. I might have used the whole bottle already. I don't know what it is.
Really? There wasn't that much in there then.
It was only $3.
$3.79.
I think that's gonna be enough.
Oh, by the way, he paid for that for me too. Wasn't that very nice?
Least I could do.
He said that because I broke my shoe on his watch, he needs to pay.
Exactly.
I think I'm gonna end this video now.
You ready?
Okay, guess where we're at now? We're at the Riverwalk. So, we're just sitting here on the steps. And we were talking about, earlier, I told him I was kind of against joining eHarmony because I thought confident guys would just randomly come up to me in a public place if they wanted my number badly enough. And so I asked him if he saw me in a public place, right? Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Would you have come up to me and like just started a conversation or asked for my number or something like that? And what's your answer?
I said it'd be hard because I've seen people in the grocery store before, but to approach them, they may take me as being a creepy guy, or, you know, this is an odd situation for someone to approach you, a stranger, especially in our culture today. It's just very odd for someone to approach you and you get kind of standoffish. And even if she was not thrown off by me being kind of strange, even if lots of girls are dating someone and they don't have a ring on, and then add that to the fact of, you know, odds are she's not a Christian. So you put all those stats together and the odds of her aligning and being able to, you know, have the same beliefs and attracted to me, takes the odds down to zero. It's like I'm better off playing the Powerball.
That's why I had to join eHarmony to get 30 dates. Plus I wouldn't expect to get 30 dates in a grocery store. However, I thought maybe once in the last decade it would happen, but it didn't.
And looking at you, I would just assume that you were dating someone. There's no way you would ever be single.
See, this guy's sweet over here. So there you have it. The greatest date of all time for me. Now what you didn't see is when the date ended, he gave me a small little gift. It was a book, and a card was put inside the book with very sweet words. Now remember, great dates don't necessarily mean perfection. Prior to the date, I was very anxious. I had to call a friend to calm me down. He said he was nervous throughout the date, and he got my name wrong a couple of times, which I thought was cute. I kept tripping over my shoe, and then eventually my shoe broke, and I got like 20 mosquito bites sitting at the Riverwalk. So I'm not saying you should look for perfection. And also, the 5 characteristics that I named of a great date doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to enter into a relationship after the date. I understand that there has to be interest reciprocated on both parts. And if there's not, you can do 5, 10, 15 things, and it doesn't matter. It just wasn't meant to be. I know what that's like, because out of the 40, 50 dates that I've been on, I could say 3 or 4 probably were great dates. And if the 5 characteristics would result in a marriage, then I would be very popular. And I also want to make it clear that I most certainly do not go on dates looking for those 5 things. I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, he just did number 2. Oh, when is he going to do number 4 correctly? I actually don't even think about it, and I came up with those characteristics very recently. As I looked back at my 40, 50 dates or so, I looked back to think, what made those 3, 4 stand out? And this is what I came up with. My goal when I go out on a date is to have no expectations. These 5 characteristics are far from my mind, and my goal is to just make sure that the person sitting across from me has a good time being in my presence. But my goal for making this video was to give advice for those that just sit back and wonder, why did that date feel forced? Why was that date just okay? Versus, why can I not smack the smile off my face right now? So friends, I hope that you enjoyed watching, and I'm curious about your feedback. Tell me, do you think that there's a characteristic that we can take away? Or would you add a 6th or a 7th? I'm curious to know your thoughts, so if you would, drop a comment, and I would love to see if we agree. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, happy dating.